tardes. So here we have Melinda Gonzalez.
And Jorge.
First of all, does everybody here speak English? Raise your hand. ¿Todo el mundo habla inglés? ¿Quién habla español? Who speaks Spanish? Okay, so a lot of people speak both languages. That's pretty cool.
Who speaks Spanglish?
But if everybody speaks English, it's okay because we are intending to explain the Spanish part to the non-Spanish speaking people. Todo el mundo que habla español habla inglés, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Okay. Bien, so we can do it all in English. All right. So welcome to these encuentros, and well, let's start introducing the event today. So I'm doing the encuentros like a series, and do you know what encuentros are?
It means encounter in English.
Yeah, but do you remember the one we went to? Like the point of the encuentros is that it is a participatory thing. Melinda has been part of it with Bombayo. Actually, Melinda is sort of a mentor to me. She's my Bomba teacher, and she's one of the leaders of Bombayo. Talk a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm going to talk in the context of El Puente and Bombayo because we've had a very long-standing relationship, but I remember coming into this space and really at that point feeling like an artist, not just an activist, but understanding more deeply the connection between art and activism in a way that it was just very natural and organic. I think it's a welcoming space, and I think I found a voice here like many other people do, and a place where Bomba was celebrated, Bomba was encouraged, and we build a Bomba family here as well. So go ahead, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's give it up. By a show of hands, who is coming to an encuentros for the first time? Is this your first encuentros? Raise your hand.
Woo!
Wow, you have these moments, all right. So exactly what encuentros is, just so you know, this is a participatory event. Basically, we're doing, I as an artist had the idea when I started a residency here at Puente to perform collaborative pieces. That means that I will perform with other artists, like musician playing as I do poetry, or dancers as I do poetry. You're gonna see that today because I'm performing two collaborations. But then, when we went into talking about, I wanted to introduce other artists to the scene. So then we introduced artists as well. So these performances have other artists other than me. But in addition to that, we thought that we wanted to create a space for community. And in every encuentros, there is some part in which the audience participates in some shape or way. Like, do you remember how the audience participated in the one that you were in here? Yes, can you tell us about the story?
It was so natural and organic. I think sometimes when people kind of get like a feeling of, oh, I gotta follow this other person, or what are they doing? And we just ask and invite you all to whatever you feel in your heart, so just bring it with you and encourage everybody else to do the same, that whatever you do is okay.
Exactly, yeah, and then that time we were dancing, we've done like art together, we've done also created things like that quilt you see right there was created for the last encuentros that we did. And if you, at the end of the event, you can come close to the stage and look at it. In the white part, there's like things that are written. Those were written by the audience in the last two encuentros, in the previous two encuentros before we did that one. So that all that came up to happen on the last encuentros, on the last series, came from the audience. So we consult the audience participate. Today you're gonna have also special participation with us, and I hope that you will feel encouraged to participate twice in today's event. Are you ready? All right. And Melinda, in your opinion, what is the decolonization of the conscience? What do you think is that?
I think for me, it's we talked about this a little bit about how there's that begins a consciousness in your mind that says, wait a second, I think that there's things that you start seeing and start understanding in your life that aren't okay. and that you actually can be a force of change, for yourself, for your own decolonizing, but also for the people around you, your community, and in fact the world, right? That decolonizing is the shedding of what you perceive to be right and proper and correct, what you've been taught many times, and finding and digging. You're gonna be a lifelong digger of uncovering and reclaiming who you are.
So this perspective you're gonna see here tonight is gonna be very grounded in the Latin American scene, and it's gonna be very grounded in that. But we also want you to be grounded in all the interconnections that there are in there. Like there is indigeneity to people that are from other parts of the world, in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, other than this continent that in every place except for this country we call America. We call this continent America. You call it the Americas, I think, right? So I want you to find those interconnections too. We're sharing our journey, but we want you also to be in your own journey. And in addition to that, this happens on this place that is called Puente, that is super special and that has a certain history. And the place that I and Melinda come from, Cadre, also has a special history, but she's been a member for longer than I have been. Actually, were you recent the inception of Cadre? So I want her to tell you a little bit about El Puente and Cadre, because I feel like she's the person equipped of us to talk to you about it. So let them know about El Puente and Cadre.
Thank you. I can tell you things that are written already on the website, but I just like to first start with saying that like El Puente is a home, and so many people have created that home and have left this energy and spirit of decades. And it started with a thought, with somebody saying, things needed to change in this community, and we deserve better. Our community and our people deserve better. And that's, a process of seeing, of judging, and activation in our communities that created the space that opened these doors in 1982, right? Because people could have said no, right? Luis Garna Costa, founder of El Puente, could have just said, this is too much. But it's also not about that one person, but bringing all of these people in to create the space and the spirit that was created by Francis Ucerna and Gino Maldonado as well. And that created the first high school for human rights at Puente Academy for Peace and Justice. Across the street, there's a community school, the El Puente Community School, MS-50, and many, many other programs, projects, initiatives that have affected this community, but I dare say affected this world too. And I think when we dare to dream, because that's part of decolonization, is when we dare and we challenge what we think we should be doing, and we rebel, and when we agitate, and go counter to what people tell us we need to do or fall in line. That's where we create the spark for change, and we inspire other people and legions of people to do the same for themselves too. For Puente Cadre, like I mentioned before, the arts became that drive, that vehicle for inspiring community. It brings arts, captivates, and it compels people to come in closer. And many times you don't see yourself sometimes as an artist, but there's the artist, an artist that inspires you, or that you really start realizing that, I can be part of this too. And I think Gadre was that. I remember we were in this huge circle and we were going around the room, and I was like, what? I do bomba, but everybody was doing some, amazing things way longer than I had been. And I just started to also realize that I could contribute, to that change as well. And I think Gadre, for so many years, I think we've created a community of artists, because we really need to come together. Sometimes, it's like, as Francis says, it's like art for the sake of what, right? What are we doing this for? Are we doing to paint pretty pictures? No, And we need to vibe together too, and you need that support. And so Cadre does that for us, and we do that for and with our community as well.
All right, thank you so much. And now today's event, Indigenous Legacy. What does Indigenous Legacy mean? I discussed that with Melinda. We're exploring who we are, our ancestry. We're exploring where we are too. We're the Lenape Hockey. We're going to honor the land. So we're going to be talking about the connection to the land where we're at. We're going to be talking about the people that came before us, sometimes in the place that we were born, but sometimes, in other cases, people are born here who have Taino ancestors, and they're also connected to their ancestors in Boriquén, in Quisqueya, in Cuba, in Jamaica, all of these places. People are connected to their ancestors. Some people are. We live in a city of where everybody comes from somewhere else, and we need that connection to that land, to the origin, to that basic. So we're looking to explore through art that our indigenous people are worthy, that our art, that the things we say, that the things that we have to show up are worthy and are beautiful, and we want to share them with you today. And I've been doing an exploration of my own culture for a couple months, actually since last year. And a lot of the people here have been working sometimes for longer than me. They're working on their connections to the land, they're working on their connection to what it is that we're doing here. And in that light, I wanted to ask Melinda to do a small land acknowledgement that we have prepared for today. So at least we start acknowledging where we are at and who built this thing, that it's important that we know where we're coming from, what is your starting point, and hopefully that becomes an action, not only something that we say, but something that we do something about.
Okay, I'm getting to that age where I support. We acknowledge that we assemble on the unceded land of the Lenape people. We acknowledge that the Lenape community, as well as the entire indigenous diaspora, their elders, past and present, and the future generations of these nations, as we work to serve in solidarity and work to advocate for their autonomy, protection, and preservation. We thank them for their original and ongoing stewardship of the land and all its inhabitants, and affirm their continued fight against the persistent and pervasive forces of colonization. We recognize this land has been built and developed by the uncompensated labor of enslaved people, and that the labor of African American people continues to lack reparations. We stand with our Black, Indigenous, people of color communities to promote our rights for peace, justice, and life.
Thank you. So let us hold that space and think about the things we just said, and how does that affect the way that we're acting and the things that we can do towards, and the way that we interact with where we're at. Hopefully that lights a candle in some of you. I know it does in me. I'm all the time questioning what I'm doing to see how I can do better. So thank you. And now we're gonna introduce Kunana. So you met Kunana, right? Yeah, she's right there. Actually, she's gonna also come with Fairy Hawk, which is another great friend and person of the community. So Kunana is a mentor to me. I mean, she's one of the Taino people. She's gonna do an opening of the ways. She carries the medicine ways of our ancestors and the indigenous practice into everyday class, worship ceremony, and rituals. She's part of walking on the path of the Taino ancestral lineage of Quisqueya and studying the practices of the indigenous people ways. Kunana has been storytelling, the oral tradition of songs, art, and there's a few references of things that she's done. I went to the moon dance that she did recently. She did the opening of the space for the first event we did related to environmental justice, and she was part of the sacred circle that we had here last year. And a lot of the people of the Taino community that were there are really special to me because they help open up very special things inside me. So let's welcome her.
Good evening, familia. We're gonna get some fire here going. As Jorge was so graciously introducing me, I really appreciate that he did come to the moon dance, first moon dance for New York. He came all the way upstate to honor our morning, our last morning. There's a few moon dancers here, some in the audience. Thank you for supporting. I'm just lighting this because the element of fire is very important. I'm gonna ask you all to stand up, please, because we're gonna open with the directions. In the Taino tradition, we open when we're not on the islands. We open first to the south to honor our ancestors in the south. Other tribes open with the east, which represents the rising of the sun. But as I am by my mother's village, Taino woman, very proud that we are bringing the resurgence back. I will continue with that passion today. So if we would face the south, please. Guaricó, guaricó, aracoel, arocoel. Achian, guanajo. And then we'll turn to the left, to the east. Guaricó, guaricó, aracoel, arocoel. Sobaito, guanajo, guaraguá, guaraguá. Guaricó, guaricó, guaraguá, aracoel. Racuno, colibrí. Guaricó, guaricó, corón, búcaro. A la madre. Guaricó, madre, Atabella, Donancín, Madre Tierra, gracias. Thank you for providing us with so much unconditional love. Siempre dándonos provisiones con tanto amor. Somos tus hijos. Perdónanos cuando no te tratamos con el respeto. Forgive us when we do not treat you with respect. We are learning. Estamos gateando y aprendiendo de nuevo. Omite. Yaya, Padre, soy. Gracias. Danos tus bendiciones hoy, en este encuentro, en este espacio. Give us your blessings in this space and time. Mahankatu. Yaya, a todos. To all sentient beings, all of our mineral nation, our plant nation, our winged nation, our four-legged nation, our star nation, and all relatives from the other side. You're welcome to come in. Invitando a todos, las plantas, las minerales, los peces, aves, gateando en cuatro patas, todo que convive con nosotros en esta tierra, consagrando nuestro espacio. Hoy, en este momento, damos gracias a cada corazón, todos tus rostros, tus almas en este espacio. Anáncate.
Of energy in the circles and of grief, of loss of memory, and in the grief, energy in the circles and the grief of lost memories and the blessings of memories recovered and the ways in which we connect when history has been disrupted. Along with Jorge, we have Natasha Rivera and Jorge, sorry. Thank you.
Blessings. So in today's first piece, we wanted to get inspired in the aretos. What are the aretos? So the aretos was the celebrations that the Taínos have and still have right now in this place called the Batey. It's this outside space where they would meet around the stone and dance and celebrate. There was also always an interconnection with religion, art, and agriculture. Everything was interconnected. And there's an energy that was generated in these spaces. These spaces, the ancient spaces that were in the Batey, they still exist. There's one in Puerto Rico, actually, where I come from. And to be part of this, when they sing in the chorus, we love to have a mayabao, but mayabao is like a hollow drum instrument that the Taíno use. Today we're going to be using this beautiful djembe, which is from our African ancestors. But I would like you to accompany me in the chorus. So you're going to be helping me a little bit. The lines are circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Ready? Let's try it. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Some lines constant, some that are broken. Some lines straight, some interrupted. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Some lines constant, some that are broken. Some lines straight, some interrupted. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. My line is apparently broken. And as I see the circle of drums, announcing an uninterrupted line, a line of words, of sounds, of shouts, my heart beats, my memory struggles, in search of memories lost. My encounters with memories past carries the grief of forgetting, the resilience of my ancestors in a struggle for survival. hurting from a wound still in the past that continuously pierces the soul in the present. My ears don't hear the Mayuabao. My eyes don't see the circle of dancers in the batey. But there's a feeling that grows as I get closer to that circle. There is an understanding of what happens inside that goes beyond the things that my mind can think, beyond what my fingers can write. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. The line is there, in my soul, in my past, in the lodge of my ancestors over the immeasurable time. There was once a poem in the works. It was a rap, or a song, or a story. It is still there. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Circle, lines, drums, sounds, words, legacy. Buried within the depth of my mind. It might not come to life in a rap, a song, or a story, but this breath is a brushstroke that survives, that overcomes the repression of a whitewashed history. Among candles, spirits, fire, I search, murky path, blood and sand mixed in it, walking on a long, uphill route, difficult way. I decided to go, plant the seed, go on my way, do what I can, write and rewrite, leave my footsteps, my note in this journey of life, getting inspiration from a line drawn from the past that I feel in some part of my body, of my soul, a line that ends up with me writing. A line drawn from the past to my soul, from the soul to my pencil, from the pencil to the paper, and back into my mind, for it to go back into my mouth, spitting words on the mic, spitting poetry, spitting truth, my truth.
so moving. Again, Natasha, thank you so much. Let's pick it up again one more time. Circles, lines, and legacy. It wasn't until I started doing bomba that I realized that how important and understanding your understanding deepens when you're in circles, and you start seeing circles everywhere. You start seeing lines everywhere, and then like wonder and contemplate a little bit more about your own legacy and the legacy of those who you've been mentored by. Our next offering is called Innegable, and it features Sherry Curante and Melanie Aguirre and Melanie.
Melanie's a native New Yorker. Hola. Sorry, I was hiding. Actually, I wanted to mention something before we go to the next piece. You see that painting right there on the right?
Beautiful.
That painting was inspired in the poem that you just heard. So as you see, there's an interconnection between visual art, music, dancing, and poetry. We're all like sharing together space. And now let's get to the introduction of Melanie. So Melanie is a native New Yorker. She's a world-renowned dancer. She's an amazing dancer. And we're gonna see, did we speak already about the content of the piece? Melinda, no, right? So the piece is basically about legacy, about the passing of the torch. Also, it's about that path of suffering that we have as our culture is repressed. So you're gonna see an interaction here again of poetry and dance, and you're gonna see the generations in this piece. So I feel like we're ready. We're gonna need the wireless mic though, so we're gonna pass it over to Nana. And I think we're ready to go, so let's give it up for them.
Take off the watch.
Innegable. Innegable en español. Mahille Kui en taíno. Memoria infinita. Cantando en el viento. Moviendo aguas. Moviendo ritmos en las aguas. Estás impresa en las manos y en las huellas de nuestros pies. Estás en la memoria. Innegable. Innegable, brillando en los ojos. Sonriendo, floreciendo otra vez. Innegable, te escucho en las piedras, te siento en los palos, te veo en las estrellas. Mahiyekui, seguimos aquí.
Atavera guagua bibi guagua bibi. Atavera guagua bibi guagua baba. Atavera guagua bibi guagua piara kuti. Atavera guagua suimako. Atavera guagua suimako. Atavera guagua
En tiempos antiguos, nuestras magias ocultadas, marcadas por las tragedias, tragamos el veneno de la masacre de nuestra gente. Fuerza y llanto, invocando justicia, resistiendo para no desistir. Cocinando en el fuego y orando en altares escondidos, preparando baños de hierbas, cantando y bailando descalza. India, Maluco, tú vives en mí. Innegable que te escucho en la piedra, innegable que te siento en los palos, innegable te veo en las estrellas, soy parte de ti. Mahiyé, Cui, seguimos aquí. El pulso siguió, nunca murió, tranquilamente esperando los momentos de hoy y del futuro, esperando tranquilamente de hoy y el futuro, penetrando las tierras, buscando el sol, las raíces del origen, salvando la conexión, renaciendo cada día, semillas germinan en la nueva generación. Innegable, te escucho en las piedras, innegable, te siento en los palos, innegable, te veo en las estrellas, somos parte de ti. Innegable, todavía estamos aquí.
can prove that our roots, our legacy from our indigenous ancestors is undeniable. So thank you, Kunana. And I was actually not in trouble, but I feel good. So the next piece we're gonna have now is a poem by Queen the Fairy. Queen the Fairy did one of her first performances here at one of the encuentros. She was in one of the open mics and she couldn't perform, so I gave her a feature in the next encuentros, and she did great. There's something about the soul of the poet, you know, like sometimes when you're able to dig in and share, you're able to do very special things in front of the audience. And there's also something about the audience. You allow us to be sincere and to open up with you all, so we are happy that we are able to be in this vulnerable space with you all. And I'm happy that Queen is sharing here with us. So, and she's also a little bit into crochet. She's also a cat-loving person, and she's like a beautiful human being. And she's Manina's gonna speak a little bit about the piece.
Quinn's piece is called The Forest Dance. Is it called? Yeah. Quinn's piece is called The Forest Dance, and it's about a journey and exploration of herself in a forest. And it got me thinking about how in Spanish, forest is what? Bosque. And it's also about the relationship, even though my name says, of bosque and busque, like to find, and how these two might be linked, and finding oneself inside the context of nature.
All right, so let's hear from Queen.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Quinn the Fairy. This is called Forest Dance. Seeking liberation within my own mind, I set course for a journey. In the forest, gardens so wide stand tall, extending their branches reaching the skies. They whisper ancient secrets with every rustling branch. I pick up on their subtle songs. Love, they sing. I wander through the forest searching for something. Silhouettes of souls pass by, not really seeing me. They look down, avoided, unaware, uninspired of what their purpose is. Can you help me find what I'm looking for? I find myself looking up for the first time. What if the purpose is that there is no purpose? Seeing the world for the first time again, I open my eyes. How come we never really pay attention to how the moon plays hide and seek with the sun? I walk. The earth breathes underneath me, pulling me further along, welcoming me home. She opens herself up to me. Cascading mirages of kin spirits, their eyes are open. Closer, she says. Creatures of every kind follow behind, hoping to sneak a peek at the forest spirit. She appears before me, extending her arms around us. She pushes the spirits to me. They hold on for dear life, breathing love, breathing a breakthrough into me. I fall to my knees, swaying with anticipation. She's becoming again. Thank you.
All right, let's give it up. We're really good Queen. So, just that important connection to Earth, I feel like I was able to see it there, and it is important that we recognize where we are and we try to honor the land that we're in. Melinda, what do you think?
I think, sorry. I think, being in nature, I think you start, I don't know, I always feel like I'm like almost in another space and time, and I think that finding yourself in those particular areas, if you disconnect from this kind of, rush and unplug into like another
Yeah. Let's remember ourselves that this was nature. This was, before there were buildings here, there was like actual nature here. And we need, it is in the earth, so we need to connect with the earth a little more. And the next piece we have, which was why you saw me like twisting my tongue, is fairy hug. So we have Queen the Fairy, and then we have fairy hug, so you know, we have a lot of fairies.
Magical place.
It's a magical place. Yeah, so the work of Fairy, actually you saw her already. Fairy was dancing in the first piece that I did. She shared space with us, and she's gonna share a little more space with us later on. Well, now she's gonna have a piece from herself. You heard her speak of what she said the piece was about. It's a piece about her journey of discovery of her indigeneity, and she's also gonna move with music, inspired. So it's gonna be something a little bit more organic. And so, you ready?
Yeah, I just want to talk a little about. Sometimes we listen to music for different reasons, and I think in our world and our society, it's, you know, we consume music without consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realize that there's other functions that music plays, and it takes us to somewhere, and it helps us connect. We can talk about frequencies and vibrations. We can talk about the skin on the drum, and that was, you know, an offering of an animal, and the connection to wood and earth and things like that. But we start seeing a bigger place for music in our world. So I wanted to kind of add that because that's, you know, what you're seeing also here.
Yeah.
Is as we're reclaiming traditions, we're also reclaiming music too as healing and as consciousness and awareness.
So you see, you come to see poetry, but you also are seeing music and dance. This whole art. So let's welcome Fairy Hug.
Peace, everyone. How's everyone feeling?
Yes.
So grateful to see all you beautiful people. So I'm going to share two parts. First part is a poem, just a little story, and then the next part is a song that came to me a couple years ago, channeled, and then I'm going to just channel. Just purely like open up and allow spirit to speak through me. Something that is called light language. Has anyone ever heard of light language? Yeah. And so it's when we allow our soul just to open up and allow it to speak when the soul is untamed and just wild and free. And a lot of times that has been demonized and called, you know, oh my gosh, they're speaking in tongues and this and that, and it scared a lot of us because we haven't been taught to just allow ourselves to just be free. But when we're babies, we don't think it's scary, right? We talk like, you know, we allow ourselves to just be free. So at one point I will be inviting you all to let your voice be free with me. So, all right, here we go. The calluses are so thick, my whole body has gone numb, numb, numb. I had fallen for the tricks, but don't mistake me for being dumb, dumb, dumb. A brown almond child, a spirit that wanted to run wild, taken from its natural habitat, has held on to many layers of protection in the form of fat. Born in Colombia on the streets, my mother had an addiction she could not beat. She was a product of the war on drugs. Society deemed her a delinquent and a thug. They used our medicines against us. Pachamama, we we always did trust. They've mixed the earth's remedies to make us into numb zombies. They wanted us controllable and docile, easily manipulated like a child. We have been taught to ostracize and demonize instead of unionize. We are like shards of broken glass, scattered, misplaced puzzle pieces of the past. We are sifting through the lies while we cut out old soul ties, unbinding what is not ours, following the whispers of our ancestral powers. They have left us a trail of magic to follow. Remembering this wisdom will remove our sorrows. As we unlock the codes, we will remember the path of the red road. This path will reawaken all of our senses. The divine feminine will honor our menses. As we start to pour this sacred serum into the earth, we will plant the seeds of a whole new world to be birthed. I invite all of our wildness into the space. I invite us to take a deep breath in and exhale out with sound. Let's get a little, can we get 10% more wild? 10%. Take a deep breath in. 20%, I dare you. Take a deep breath in. All right, can we go for 100%? Take a deep breath in. necessarily a language that will make sense to your mind, but I invite you to close your eyes and just feel. Feel the vibrations coming through of my soul to you. Kinato kimalo tukura todo con tu sacarataya. Samakara tu kamaya kiesha katora katira kamata. Semakara tira poruma kaya ruma kaya shaka kati kuku shukupaya tika kuku kaya ona kaka kuku. Saya makara kiesha kataya nea. Sima kuku kaya takara kuna katika kukusha. Saya kacina, koma kaita katakopa kaitatamu. Rama kurukusa bakaisha katurka. Sima karakuna makika rakuna ka. Sira kachatu karanyisha kuka hika kuka tamu. Saya porka makisha kamakuna kataya.
All right, thank you so much, Fairy Hawk. I felt you were able to connect a little bit with that energy. And he talks a little bit about the problem with exploitation of the land in Ecuador. Have you heard about this, Belinda? Like the issues with the big companies trying to exploit the land, but then there's also like local people exploiting. So in the piece that you're gonna see in a second, you're gonna see a poem that was done actually here at Encuentros in a previous one because there's a little bit of interconnection between the topics. The topic that was of the last Encuentros was stewards of the land, and it was related to of the series that is. It was related to our relationship to the land, to environmental justice. So when we forget that we are the land, we have that issue with the environmental justice, and we forget to take care of the land. You remember who said that Luis Garena Acosta saying, "We have the land." So we have the land, so we have to give back to it, or something along the lines. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Luis is one of the founders. Can you speak a little bit about Luis so people know who Luis Garena Acosta is?
Yes. In the late 1970s to early 1980s, Luis and several other community leaders saw an issue, particularly in this community, with the gangs. And we're talking about in the 1970s when there's a lot of divestment in this community and a lot of communities of color throughout New York City. And gangs or street organizations really popped up to fill that void. But I think Luis had some insight and said, you know what, we found this space, opened these doors, and provided all sorts of arts for young people so that they were off the street. And from one thing to the other to the other, Luis was an advocate for environmental justice and was founder of LCAN as well, Latino Climate Action Network.
That's in Puerto Rico.
In Puerto Rico.
Borican.
Yes, yeah, as well. And I think Luis, who was just a natural born community organizer, just brought people with him wherever he went. You did not, there was always work to do, and Luis would, bring you into conversations about what needed to get done in his community. I think because of his relentlessness and his dedication, several decades into Puente, we have, a thriving organization where people feel safe, where people are inspired, and feel love and joy as well.
So this battle with environmental justice and this commitment to something that Puente calls the right to self-determination is part of the reasons that we're doing things like this. Because we're trying to encourage the right to self-determination to people to discover who they are, but also to take care of the land we're in, which is so important. And I'm going to speak a little bit about this piece real quick, reading the Ora Petróleo is a participative performance piece that pays homage to Ecuador's indigenous nature guardians and the nation's vote against ecocide. It also integrates Ecuador's current extractivist politics and the possibility of a future beyond fossil fuel dependency. So Salome is an artist from Ecuador committed to her work towards racial identity, immigration, and re-indigenization. And I think she's ready, yeah? All right, so anything further to do? Let's give it out for Salome.
El Dorado. Cuenta la leyenda that the Inti shone so bright it turned everything into gold. Crowns, necklaces, our indigenous skin, the riches of the Inca Empire. This legend reached the ears of two Spanish explorers, Pizarro and Orellana, who quickly cut through thick leaves, zigzagging chaquiñanes, and our indigenous skin, searching for El Dorado, the Golden Kingdom. Quickly, they drowned in their desire for riches, as they were carried by a river as big as the main artery of the Americas, to their disenchantment. El Dorado was a myth, until a few years ago. In 2017, at the foot of the mountains Taitaimbabura in Mama Cotacachi, a farmer found a couple little rocks shiny as the Inti itself while building a road. Since then, flocks of nationals and internationals started digging Ecuadorian lands for a piece of El Dorado, saqueando y quemando los vestigios ancestrales que quedaron después de la primera colonización, leaving a concave tunnel underneath Andean soil, recognizable trace of a robbery, not only of people's resources, but a land's wholesomeness. ¿Que el primo qué? You're telling me our cousin does what? I asked my brother in this concierto, not that I didn't know that our cousin had been in the Ecuadorian army for some time now. Seeing my guilt for not having had the chance to go back home, I tried to ask our other cousin, his sister, about family updates. However, my brother had a new chisme. Our cousin, the one in the army, was now fighting illegal mining mafias, or a national security threat, as called by the government. Wait, what? How? Where? Entré en desconcierto de nuevo. My brother couldn't say much more, just replied, yeah, he goes to the Amazon and has to desmantelar the mining sites. Yo, totalmente consternada, definitely a trend by now, couldn't just sit still. I had to find more details. I needed the full gossip, you know? Yes, there's been tons of illegal mining talk in Ecuador in the recent years, and my cousin's work is to look out for groups of people who extract minerals from the land without a permit. Turns out, in 2016, Ecuadorian ex-president Lenin Moreno sent 4,000 soldiers to an area in the northern Andes, an area that was, quote-unquote, concessioned, aka sold to an Australian mining company, a company owned by the richest woman in Australia. So, the already small funds of a developing country are now being used to pay the army to protect the future earnings of the richest woman in Australia. Esto quedó más pobre que nunca en la vida. We're just taking what we can before they come, because once the company arrives, it'll be our end. Esto quedó más pobre que nunca en la vida, say the inhabitants of the area. Now, I have to be clear here. Illegal miners aren't the good guys either. They use extremely toxic chemicals that end up contaminating the Amazon River just to extract gold and earn a little coin for today while destroying their own lands for tomorrow. But they do it because they are living in poverty. Many of us are pushed from our homes, not because we want to leave our ancestral lands, but because we cannot survive there anymore. A country that we love, but invests its resources to defend the future earnings of the richest woman of Australia. Will colonization ever end? I said in response to my brother's chisme. A chisme that didn't affect a la vecina only, a reality that affected my motherland. Me. And if you live in a planet that breathes through its Amazonic lungs, it probably affects you too. I stared into my brother's eyes and felt this need to protect my land, combined with the nostalgia of what once was a majestic golden empire. Si hay asumí. On August 20th of this year, Ecuador as a whole voted against mining. Ecuador as a whole voted in favor of nature. It was a feeling as if my heart had dropped to my stomach when I read the news the next day. I could not believe it. Tears would fall down my cheeks as I was trying to grasp la inmensidad de esta decisión. A happiness for my love of Pachamamas couldn't be contained. She had spoken through us for her preservation, and we had, for the first time in history, listened to her call. But then I felt the fear. The fear of a country's vote not being respected, or a period of poverty coming up. See, the colonization of the mind can be so powerful that I have moved through life in a scarcity mindset, in part because I always knew that Ecuadorian land resources might end, sin aviso, just one day, finito. And so, unconsciously, I always felt that anything and everything I had, one day could just magically vanish. Since I was a little girl growing up in Ecuador, I had known that oil was our biggest export. That's what they teach you in school. Our country is only worthy because of petrodólares. Es como una maldición, my dad said to me. country that is rich in oil and land resources, uses this as a crutch to not find a new way of existing, of moving forward. Yes, these resources bring money in, but once they are gone, we never learned how to stand up on our own 2 feet. Honestly, I'm still shocked, because I don't know how my country is going to stand up on its own 2 feet. Because there's still a little colonized voice inside me that says that abundance is a myth. A myth. A myth. But if El Dorado was a myth, and it ended up becoming a reality, can abundance become a reality too? Or rather, is abundance the prosperity reality that Pachamama has been whispering to all of our ears all along? Can abundance be the antidote to feeling lost? Can abundance be the love we crave? You tell me, do you believe in abundance? Do you believe in mutual aid, in community well-being, in community cooperation? And if so, do you believe that together we can return the land to its pristine state, a state that can say yes to new life? Gently, you're invited to help nature restore its abundant state. It might be scary, but can we try?
Reina. One more. Just one more.
Awesome work of art. Buena obra de arte.
Extremely powerful. I could see there's some adjectives going on here. What's coming to mind for you when you see this performance? Going along the lines of like our connection and reconnection. Engagement to ourselves, engagement. Yes.
All right. So that was. Thank you so much for participating as well. I see some people doing it, so I'm looking for the last piece where you're going to be participating to. We'd like to share with us, but I know that this is a shared experience. I know that if you didn't see it, you were here receiving as well the message and the importance of taking care of the land and doing an action in which we're actually cleaning the land, so that was beautiful. The next piece is Destiny. Destiny Padilla is a poet that I've seen here in Manifest since 2018, I think we met. And then I was hanging out at the American Poets Cafe to share my poems, and she was the MC. And then we met there again. So
I just, on Monday, I just came back from Puerto Rico, or Boriken, and, there's a complicated sometimes identity of feeling ni de acá, ni de allá, or sometimes as we remix it to feeling de aquí y de allá también. And, I still have family members who be like, tú eres de afuera. I'm just like feeling as an outsider in the land of your family. And so I think her piece, which is called Spanglish Coquille,
yes,
Spanglish Coquille, kind of explores Destiny's identity and the complexity and the perception and identity that come with her ancestry and connection to nature and her, how she perceives things to be.
Also our ancestors, we Taino people are reclaiming our ancestry that was denied from us since like years long. Our arena ancestors run into the mountains and integrate into the society. And then it's a rough history we have, First we are Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans, people of the Caribbean denied of our identity. Then on top of that, there's the Puerto Rican history of colonization, colonized with Spain to then be again colony of the United States, and then having the mobility that we do have, but then being actually from nowhere. So it's a long and arduous journey. So the reclamation of our Taino roots is super important to me, and it's something that I'm starting to learn more and more and more. And I believe that Destiny's in a similar journey that I am, only from a different perspective, because she's from New York and I was born in what I call the mainland Puerto Rico. And so it's a beautiful moment in which we're here, and I love that she's able to share some of her own experiences with us, so let's give it for her.
It's a frog, it's a little tree frog, and it goes, and there's actually the male says sound, and then the females respond. There's like a close situation there. And when it rains, it sounds really, really loud and beautiful. And so, for many, many years, it was known that the coquille could only survive in Puerto Rico. But now we know that it survives in places like Hawaii, too. Wow. So, we're going to let Destiny talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you so much. How y'all feeling? Yes. All right, so how many Boricuas in here? Yes. Mostly everybody. How many from the island or born on the island? There's a few. And then how many New Euricans, quote unquote, right? Or diaspora. Has anyone ever heard diasporican, the word? Yes, that's the new thing, all right? We take it a step further. Okay, there's not only New Yorkers, there's Jersey Ricans, Connecticut Ricans now, right? All right, so there's gonna be a call and response. So when I go, you have to do your best impression of the coqui. Let me hear it. Coqui. All right, 2 times. Coqui, coqui. There we go. I like the whistle. Y'all be accurate. All right. Hey Siri, what's a coqui? The coqui is a tiny frog native to the islands of Puerto Rico. The coqui gets its name from a unique calling sound song sung by its species. The coqui can only survive in its native island of Borinquen and has been documented to fall ill when relocated. Anxiety rises as Spanish crookedly scatters out of my lips. I have to constantly remind myself that I am overly qualified to speak this language, that the Bronx and New York mixed for me in a caldero with salsa, boogaloo, and hip hop. The voice of my college professor sneaks into my psyche saying, Destiny, it's Puerto Rico, not Puerto Rico. My awkward giggle and oh yeah, haha, right. Seals her comfort and authority above my breakdancing words. Being a second generation New Eurekan has engraved a list of what I should be on my torso reading. You're not American enough. You're too American. You have to know more Spanish. You don't know enough Spanish. You only speak Spanglish. If you need confirmation of my culture, just wait until you see me when I'm mad, or when music enters the room and my body takes the dance floor by the memory of the blood of my ancestors that danced through me. You're a second generation New Eurekan. They don't let me forget it. Isn't Puerto Rico part of America anyways? This question is not the reality. America just owns it. Like they own the identity they created for me. A diaspora, a rainbow of people, a sea-leaping hurricane named colonization. Her new disguise of a name is Maria, Fiona, Luma. My identity is no accident. I am not who they predetermined me to be. I am my abuela's last dying wish. The elders recreated a country outside of our isla, and they call it Nueva York, Chicago, Florida, Jersey, Connecticut, diasporican country galore. The Rican dream set out to thrive. Remakes of the isla, even a coqui could survive. Haven't you heard? America eats its babies. My identity is a small island spread throughout the world. Blood, water, salsa, pique, evaporated into hurricanes, raining memories, stardust we form from clay turned to skin. The eternal drum beats within. Close your eyes and you'll feel it. From eventos to barbecues, from semi to spirit, tune out the white noise and you'll hear it. Boricua poet Julia de Burgos collapsed and died alone on the Harlem sidewalk. She was buried in a potter's field under the name Jane Doe. Puerto Rican women are everything except Jane Doe. Will they ever love us unless we become her? Birth control trials, war on our wombs of all women, experiments on our bodies like aliens, but we are the natives. When they rip open our bodies, it is no coincidence that what they find in our DNA is magic. love, and resilience. Who am I? What am I? Who am I? What am I? They watch in awe as we download ancestral codes to thrive. After each hurricane, the Coqui always survives. My identity is a small island spread throughout the world, a diasporican. Yeah, that's me. But even so, I can still hear the singing Coqui.
Around that, our Taínos are, if you go to some areas over there in Boriquén, you're gonna see the remnants of the coquis because they're on the stones from way back, centuries and centuries and centuries. So that's super interesting and super emotional and super connected to many of us, and it's a really special sound. So, how do you feel when you hear the coquis in Puerto Rico? You went there recently, right?
Yeah.
Were you able to hear them?
Yeah, I love when it rains, especially when it rains hard, and you hear them, they're so loud. Sometimes, there's a lot of gentrification also in Puerto Rico and a lot of development, and sometimes, we're used to hear them a lot, that they're like less, they don't sound as much, but when the rain comes, they're there, they're ready.
Yeah. My mom has like a campo behind, like a country behind the house, and you hear them at night. And the room that used to be my sister's room is like the window is next to the area where there was like a whole farm, and you can hear them. It's a beautiful noise for us. And well, we have another Taíno coming up, Diamante Dimo Ortiz. Actually, a poet in her own right, but also an alumni from El Puente. But also, she's emceeing her own open mics as well in Philadelphia. She stayed in Lenape-Hokiland regardless. She was born in Lenape-Hoki. She moved a little further west, but still in Lenape-Hoki. But she's Boricua Taíno, and she is ready to share with us some poems. You have a little few notes there.
Yeah, I'm super excited. The poems are related to the experience of those who are in their transformative phases that break beyond boundaries we have been born into. And it's as the writer, it's just imperative for me to seek out these spaces and tap into what it means to heal while overcoming loss, failure, and all the trials to come.
All right, so let's hear this beautiful word from Dimo Diamante.
Hello. How's everyone doing tonight? Shout out to all the artists that have been able to perform tonight. Thank y'all for showing up in this space. Thank you for being present. So I have two poems I want to share with y'all. The first one is called I'm Alive. I've always thought about the sixth sense that I hold, called my lonely, remembering that solitude is still time spent with the world. However, its grief sits at my doorstep and creeps in like the monster underneath the bed, sweeping joy like a thief in the night. There were times the wind and cracks on the concrete knew all my secrets, and running home felt like a triathlon. I was still outpacing because misery and I did not want each other's company. I didn't want to feel, I didn't want to think, fathom my speck of existence in this giant galaxy was actually enough. And that my carbon footprint burned a hole in between a dying empire and a new world. The wonders of the world are perched on my windowsill to see ivy trespassing on property humans are still treading lightly on. While metal claws rip through clouds, I feel angels flap in my ears that we can mistake for merely just the wind. But I hear my grandfather call me through wind chimes and coffee cups, and from mothers who break down like seagulls crying like they're still stuck in the sky for too long. It's funny to think my dreams can somehow feel a billion light years away, when I can still see the length of time stretch across my fingertips through paper cuts and scrapes and mistakes and bones locked into lovers still made out of hourglass. Is it still our moment? I know my time can feel futile when I'm backed into a corner called my solitude, but I'm not. I can look to the moon and still feel her frozen tears like they were just born, and feel relief that we're finding joy in this lonely with her. And we're still together, and the sun kisses the back of my neck. I revel in his drunken lust for flesh. I make sense of this world little by little, in my lonely, in my solitude. It's good to be alive like this. It's good to feel alive like this. End poem. Which I'm really excited about. I think it's about how we fall in love with the mundane, how we romanticize like our daily lives, from pouring that cup of coffee first thing in the morning to even turning the new page of our favorite book. So I'm really excited to share this with y'all. The title of this one is called Joy Carried Over. Cupid graced me with her presence on a motorbike flying down Leonard Street, passing by Mother Mary, floating like a witch on a broomstick, with her drawstring backpack and white-colored clothes that made this angel look like she could fly. I'm not in love with just anything, just only with the idea that life can be steady, is steady and graceful and full of wonder, suddenly captured in Fujifilm cinematic, surreal, moving like the high tides dancing to the shores during a summer solstice everlasting, taking up the shape of my heart and finding myself right at home. When we ask ourselves, who told us we could stop living like this? I'm happy that I'm catching it in aging and knowing I'm still young. My hyperpigmentation heightens up the shape of my back, dancing across my shoulders and tattooing their spots on me. It's a remnant of canvas blooming new paintings on myself and my body. Howling for the moon across a starry autumn night sky. It's nice when I catch the air, and I'm giddy when angels' laughter is in my ears. Serotonin is brushing my teeth in the bigger smiles, and friends with me get to belt out SZA's normal girl lyrics and say, this time next year we'll be living so good, we'll remember your name, I swear. Living so good, living so good, living so good. This time next year we'll be living so good, we'll remember no pain, I swear. Living so good, living so good, living so good. We call this church. And ears ring from banished conversations that still crawl from the back of our minds, from the ways we maneuvered around saying, you got me messed up today at work, okay? But I'm happy I'm alive. There are no calls for loss or pangs of regret, only joy carried over and over and over again. Thank you.
Return, I think, also to justice, to oneness, to ourselves. And I think hearing Demo's poetry, kind of reminded me of that, and just sometimes life can be beautiful, life can be sweet, and I appreciate that. Our next and last offering is includes Jorge, and so that's why I'm alone here, aquí solita. Me dejo sola. Let me go to the middle here. Take up space. So let me introduce this piece that I'm excited about as well. And this piece is called Plumas en la Chola. And this is, I will read from here. This is a very personal piece about the connection with the Taino ancestors, honoring our bodies and the reclamation of the Taino symbols, and an invitation to connect with the essence and the ancestors. And you have seen some of the other artists and presenters before, but you will also be introduced to Elizabeth Diaz-Cintron, who is a Puerto Rican Taino multidisciplinary artist specializing in visual arts, who has been collaborating with Jorge for most of the poems he has presented at Encuentros here. And then at Huepa Festival, which we'll talk about, you'll get a chance to meet her and some of the other artists as well. So, we will be introducing Plumas en la Chola.
Plumas en la Chola.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to be performing with the mic now because there's a lot of movement in this one. So I hope you're able to bear with me. This piece is in Spanish, so I want to give a little bit of context about the piece. It's really personal to me, like the other one as well. But this goes back to my idea of what Taino is since I was a teenager. I have a Tio Felix, that was a spiritista. Spiritista, they see the spirits and things. And he had this vision of this protector that I had that was like an indio con plumas en la chola. So that's where the name comes from. And so as I connect with that, my perception of what Taino is has evolved as I've been studying and learning things from what it is. And there is an emotional connection to this. I had like a very emotional experience in the elder circle where I met Punana, when I was telling this story. And at that time, when I was telling this story, I had to say it in Spanish because it was easier for me to transmit my feelings about it. So I hope you're able to appreciate that. Some important parts are going to be said in English. And at the end, we're going to delve into the next part in which you're going to be participating with us as well. So we welcome you to be with us. I'm going to be performing with three formidable artists, Elizabeth Diaz-Cintron, Perry Hawk, and Natasha Lee Vega. And the name of the piece that they're going to perform with me right now is called Plumas en la Chola. Agarrados de las manos viajamos, buscamos conectar con los protectores. Recuerdo a mi guía Taíno, luchando en espíritu, mostrándome que es mi gurú. En un rito espiritista, legado nativo, mezclado en culturas mezcladas, mi tío abuelo, el último vehículo de mi linaje, conecta con nuestros ancestros y me muestra quién es mi protector. Un indio con plumas en la chola. Yo río por dentro, viendo una imagen copiada, plasmada en pantalla de cine, los indios y los vaqueros. Los vaqueros con los sombreros y los indios con plumas en la chola. ¡Pim, pum, pam, pam! Imagen plasmada en un imaginario heredado del más reciente colonizador. Mi búsqueda sigue, y navegando entre voces, videos, lugares, sonidos y libros, me topo con el relato de un historiador que me cuenta memoria de mi opresor y me dice que ese día existió en otro plano. la proa, emisario del pueblo, comandando a la tripulación en la canoa, llevando a un majestuoso cacique que no conserva riquezas de oro, sino de guanín y cibas, las piedras heredadas del primer vehículo, al de Borael o Ayona, Semí, que ahora vive en las estrellas, en el Venus matutino. El taíno vivía con prestigio, con la piel adornada de vistosas pinturas, sin miedo a mostrar su cuerpo que ahora cubrimos para espantar lujurias cristianas. Su ánima sigue con prestigio, luciendo arte, plumas en la cabeza, tabletas redondas en la frente, joyas de alambre, sartal de cuentas, como las pucas que llevo en mi cuello, guirnalda de piedras verdes, joyas en la frente, cuentas, sartitas y alambres en las orejas, cinto que adorna y dibuja la cintura, pero que no tapa nada.
The Taino lived with prestige, with the skin adorned with colorful paintings, not afraid to show their body without cover to show away Christian lust. Our ancestors' soul continues with prestige, wearing art, feathers on the head, palm tablet on the forehead, wire jewelry, string of beads like the pukas that I wear on my neck, big stone garland, jewelry hanging on the forehead, beads, strings of garment in the ears, belt that decorates and grows the waist but doesn't cover anything.
Mi guía espiritual es libre. Me enseña el derecho a amar a mi cuerpo. Aprendo del pasado a amar a la madre y entiendo que vengo de una línea de cordones umbilicales pasados a través de mi madre y la madre de mi madre y su madre y su madre y su madre. La línea paternal no se pierde, reside en el espíritu de manera oculta como la herencia de mi maestro, mi tequina. Mi guía espiritual no tiene ombligo, pues como todos los seres del Today, es un espíritu. Mi guía es mi ancestro, un ser de luz que fue indio, taíno, arawak, que llega de Boriquén, un indio con plumas en la chola.
My guide has no belly button, because like all the beings of today, he is a spirit. My guru is my ancestor, a being of light that was Indian, Taino, Arawak, who comes from Boriquén, un indio con plumas en la chola.
Thank you. It suits you, know. In some case, it might be the spiritual, you find your ancestor in your spirit. In some places, you might be connecting to some other type of spirituality. In some places, it might be emotional. For some people, it might be just the earth. But find that place to connect. I invite you to find that place. I invite you to be here in community. And all together, I would like to have a collective experience to sing. And in order to lead us in this last activity, where we're all going to share as a community, sing together, share together, to close the event with the last song before we close the space and give a few announcements, I would like to invite Ferry Hub to lead us in this last song.
How's everybody feeling?
I definitely feel so inspired and invigorated by all this beautiful expression, and it just feels so great to be in this space. So I'm so grateful for all the artists. Thank you. Can we all just give it up for
colonization and very heavy energy. Yet, we are all here and we do want better for not only ourselves, our lineage, our families, but for the planet. And we are going to rise up together, okay? Okay? I invite you to sing and really feel what are you rising up against? What are you rising up for? Why are we still here? Why are we still allowing ourselves and our joy and our love to be seen and heard amongst all of this craziness? Because what I was hearing somebody say earlier, that joy is our natural state.
Yes.
So how can we continue to infuse that and still feel everything that's here? As long as we know we got each other and we're here and we're going to support and keep going. So, here we go. I'm going to say it loud and you repeat, okay? Bueno? People of the world are circling. World are circling. Together we're creating. Together we're creating. A world not afraid of feeling. A world not afraid of feeling. We're creating healing. We're creating healing. So rise up, rise up, rise up. 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 Rise up, yeah, rise up, rise up, rise up. Come
Thank you so much for sharing. I saw everybody standing. That's so exciting. Having people participate and share energy. You need sometimes to stand up. And that's actually, I want to give an anecdote because I feel a little inspired. Recently we have a healing circle, which is the one of the event. Actually, let's give it up for Sylvia. Sylvia was here. She's not really listening audio, so the other one that is not here, she couldn't make it today, but I know her heart is with us. I know my heart is with her. I'm happy that she is where she is. In the circle, we had a part where we were all dancing, but it was such a beautiful space that I saw that I felt here. You get to a point sometimes where the environment is created, where you feel comfortable to share with people, and then you're able to stand up and dance and do crazy stuff. And that moment I feel we have created in this last few minutes. So we're almost ready to close, Melinda, right?
Yes, we are. Went by so quick, but I think we did some amazing work tonight. So we did
Well, we're going to have a few announcements after we do the close. We're going to call send our ancestors back, and then we're going to do a few announcements of things that are going to be happening really soon that we would like you to participate in. And we're gonna have another Encuentros in October 21st. I believe it is. I have to confirm the date, but it's coming up next month. Yes, October 21st, and it's gonna be about our Afrocentric legacies. So we hope to see you there. That one's gonna be an open mic. This one, like when a Street Creator event, what you just saw. Every one of the person that was here, I spoke to them before. I knew I was gonna have an organized an event. The next one that I'm doing, I'm gonna have probably like 2 or 3 featured people, and then anybody like you can come, grab the mic, and share something. It is themed, so we hope they share something related to the topic, but I mean, it's an open mic, so I don't have full control over what happens in those cases. But the first Encuentros on the last series was an open mic, and Kunana was there, and the environment that was created there was magical. It was almost, it looked like I created like today, but I didn't. So I mean, sometimes magical things happen, so October 21st, you should come, experience it for yourself, and see what happens. You never know, it could be a magical experience again. So, with that being said, I would like to introduce Nana to do the closing of the spaces, of the way, and then we'll close the event with a few announcements. Thank you so much, and thank you for so many friends that I see, friendly faces that I see here. I love you all. Yes.
This is
It's on now.
test. Hi. Anyway. So, I just wanted to share something that dawned on me when I was watching you in your last poem, Jorge. So, I never heard that poem before, and you never heard my poem before. And it was just incredible how parallel, how spirit moved us to write these things. And you would think that maybe we were inspired by each other, and it just really is how spirit works. And spirit uses us as instruments to speak through us and just do a lot of beautiful things. And sometimes we don't understand spirits, what we're doing in the moment, but I've learned to trust and have faith, and then I get it. I get it maybe later on, but I get it. So I noticed that some people were videoing me doing directions, and thank you for thinking it's worthy. I'm going to ask that it please not be posted, because when I speak to the directions, I really am speaking to the spirit world, and it's a very sacred moment. So if there's been anything like that today, video, I just ask that you keep that for yourself. And if you want to learn the words from the video, that's wonderful, but please not put it on social media. That's just the way I feel. Some people put it on social media, and that's okay too. So with that, we're going to start. Thank you.
Yeah.